and I just want to set up. We're going to do something a little bit different today, and it's my favorite session. But I'm just going to create breakout rooms where everyone is joining us.
Perfect. I think Scott and Abby may be coming on a little bit later because I think we've all got our performance reviews today.
Oh, have you?
So she's currently having hers.
They
might be coming.
Does Scott do all those?
He does, yes. Yeah, so he'll do it for the whole team.
Mate, your Wi-Fi's not great.
Is that any better?
Yeah, that's a little bit better. You were cracking up a tiny bit. Hi guys, hi Tom. Tom G, Tom B. How are we both doing?
Yeah, how are you?
Very well, thank you, mate. Very well indeed. Sun is shining. Near the weekend, and we beat the Germans. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So good.
Happy bloody days. And for the first time ever, I genuinely think we can bring this home. I actually have confidence in the team.
I really hope so.
Do you agree, Tom?
I really hope so.
Yeah, me too. Well, look, if we can beat the Germans, I think we can beat. They're a good team, right? Although Müller massively screwed that one-on-one up.
He did.
Which I was delighted to see.
Who can actually beat us? Like up to the final.
It's true.
No one.
My friend managed to get last-minute tickets for the game. Literally got it at like 4 o'clock. So he took his son. He said it was the best evening of his life. No, I don't know how much he spent on 2 tickets. Me too. So Jake, I spoke to his son Jake, who's 10, and he said it was the best thing I've ever experienced. Bless him, he was buzzing, as you can imagine.
That's amazing.
Yeah, great experience.
I did hear that. I did hear that there was tickets going for around between £800 to £1,000.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's probably. I asked him, he didn't want to tell me, but I'd imagine that's probably what he paid. I don't think, and he's trying to get tickets now.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, would have been awesome. So, guys, what we're doing today, we're doing things a little bit different. Joe, we're seeing you sideways again. It's definitely your camera issue. Are we waiting for anyone, Ryan, or is this the full squad today?
So we're just waiting on Abby to log in now, and Scott's just logging in as well.
Awesome. So, guys, we're going to do something a little bit different today. This is all about behaviours, and this is probably one of the most favourite things. I adore this subject when it comes to selling. Has anyone ever, by show of hands, had their behaviour sort of analysed before, or done any sort of, behaviour analysis? Yeah, Lawrence, you've done it. Where did you do it, Lawrence, and what was it?
So when I worked at Mini, obviously I went to BMW headquarters to do their level 2 training. Yeah. And it was basically, I think, very similar to what your colours is, but obviously to see if you're a touchy customer, a factual customer, all like that, but very different to obviously what you're going to say. Similar, but different.
Good. I think it will be a bit different. So I'm going to be splitting you up into groups. So I don't know if you guys remember, we touched on NLP. Joe, what was the line I used about NLP that I said almost this to me was my 10 years of learning? I put into one sentence. Do you remember what it was, Joe? And just unmute yourself. No, you don't remember? Does anyone remember? It was just one line I used, and it began with if. And to me, this was the crux. Go on, Lawrence.
I believe it's that if you see the world through John Smith's eyes.
Correct.
What would John buy a car from you?
Correct. If you see the world through John Smith's eyes, you are more likely to get John Smith to buy from you. The reason for this, right, is we are comfortable dealing with people like us. It's just the way we are wired. So this taps into NLP, but it also taps into just psychology. So what I'm going to demonstrate to you guys today, morning, Scott, morning, guys. Morning. Hi, Abby, how are we doing?
Morning, mate, you all right?
Very well. How are you
Sorry,
guys?
I'm late.
Don't worry. So guys, we're going to kick straight off with this. So what I want to focus on today is about really, truly understanding behaviors. The better you can understand the sort of the behavior of who you're conversing with, the more likely you are to get that person to buy from you. So the whole purpose of this session is to open up your eyes to the types of people that you're going to be dealing with on the phone and potentially face to face, and learning how they think, how they operate, so that you can become a chameleon and adapt to them. So the exercise I'm going to show you, need a plain piece of paper, guys, for this exercise, okay? And the exercise I'm going to show you is all about the type of behavior you are, and I'm going to split you into groups. So make sure you've got a plain piece of paper for this. I'm going to share the screen, and I am going to, bear with me while I do this, guys. I just give you the context so you understand what you're going to be seeing. This is by a Swiss psychologist called Carl Jung. I don't know if any of you heard of Carl Jung before, but he was a very famous Swiss psychologist in the late 19th century, and he studied behaviors, for many, many years. And he used to do some work with a chap called Sigmund Freud, which I'm sure most of you have heard of. Okay. And they used to work together in collaboration, studying different personas. And they had a very big fallout. No one really knows the reason why, but they became like arch enemies. But Carl Jung's original work fascinated me about behavior. And there's been lots of behavior studies ever since, but they base it on Jung's original work. So if you're interested in learning more about this, you can do a lot of Google research on Carl Jung. It's spelled C-A-R-L-J-U-N for November, G. And it was in the late 19th century. But I'm going to simplify the model for you, and I'm going to get you all to draw the diagram I'm about to show you. So guys, get a plain piece of paper and let me show you the diagram. So can you see this, Ryan, where it says logic and number 10? Just put your thumbs up, Ryan, if you can see that. Yeah, excellent. So top center, guys, write the word logic with the number 10. I want you to draw a straight line down to, at the bottom of the page, write the word emotion with the number 10. Halfway up the page, I want you to do a horizontal line, halfway up the page, right across the line. Put a 0 in the middle where the lines meet. And on the far left, write the word introvert with the number 10. And far right, put the word extrovert with the number 10. So you should have a nice cross on your page now. I just want to make sure we're all on exactly the same page. Does anyone know where the word introvert and extrovert come from? Any ideas? I'm going to give you a clue. It's always Latin. If anyone asks where's a word, say Latin, you always win, right? So intro in Latin is internal. So what they mean by that is introverted behavior. Because they're internal, they are quiet, shy, timid, nervous. Some of them avoid eye contact. They're very private. Extra in Latin is outer, therefore they are outgoing. They like the sound of their own voice. They think they're funny. They love to be center of attention. They love telling stories. They like to be the clown in the party. Emotion at the bottom is all about feelings. These people are normally quite touchy-feely, tactile. They wear their heart on their sleeve. They get easily offended. They like to be liked. They take things to heart. Logic are the opposite. These people are very much thinkers. They are very facts-based. They can be seen as quite cold. They're very methodical. They're very meticulous. They think before they speak type person. Does that make sense, first of all, to all of you? Yeah, good. So this is what I want you to do to begin. On the horizontal line, like I've done, I want you to put 2 dots on the horizontal line, 0 to 10, how introvert you think you are, 0 to 10, how extrovert you think you are, but the 2 dots must add up to 10. So if you look at my diagram, I'm a 2.5 out of 10 introvert, which means I'm a 7.5 out of 10 extrovert. So the 2 dots must add up to 10. Where do you think you are? And draw it in your diagram. By the way, this is when you're sober. Very important point. We can all be like 11 extrovert when we're faced. I know I can. And it's pathetic. If I have 2 pints in the day now, I go straight to shoot to 10 very quickly. It's embarrassing. So Mark,
Tony.
Yeah.
Sorry, can you just explain what introvert and extrovert are again?
Yeah, so introvert, they're very quiet, shy, timid, nervous, reserved, private. Ultra introvert will avoid eye contact. They're really not, normally they're not people's people. And extrovert is the exact opposite of all of that. Outgoing, loud, like the sound of their own voice, think they're funny, love to be center of attention type. Yeah. Then I want you to do exactly the same on the vertical. 0 to 10 of how emotional you think you are. And then 0 to 10, how logical you think you are. But once again, the 2 dots must add up to 10. So 0 to 10. So I've put myself 3 for logical and 7 for emotional. If you're really not sure, then you're 5 and 5. But where do you think you are? And again, the 2 dots must add up. Remember, it's 0 up to 10, 0 down to 10. Make sure they add up to 10, the 2 dots. Once you've got your 4 dots on the page, guys, join them up with straight lines the best you can, just like I've done. Join up the dots. And you should get like a diamond kite sort of shape on your page, just like I've got. Once you've got your shape, put a number 1 in your biggest section. So I do it with a blue circle, bottom right. So whichever one is the biggest, put a number 1. If you've got 2 identical, which a lot of people do, then you've got 2 ones. If you've got 3 identical, then you've drawn it wrong and you've got to look at your numbers again. If you've got 5, 5, 5, 5, then you have 4 ones. Very rare, but it's possible. Okay, so you should have all done that now. What does this mean? What are you looking at? So I want you to take a note of this and put a note on your piece of paper. Top right is red behavior. Carl Jung labeled red as fire. That was his characteristic. I would argue 75% of my clients are in the red behavior. How do I know that? 2 reasons. The sort of people that are red, the sort of jobs they're attracted to are normally senior positions. They are normally an entrepreneur, business owner, director, manager. They like to dominate. And when I go into a red's office, what I normally see is a picture of their sports car. I might see certificates all over their wall. I might see a shelf full of trophies. I might see a picture of them playing golf or a picture of their boat, something like that that they're proud of. That's a typical red's office that I see. Bottom right is yellow. And by the way, your 1 is your dominant behavior. So my 1 is bottom right, which means I'm a yellow. So bottom right is yellow. And the sort of jobs that yellows, and Carl Jung labeled them as an extrovert, just an out and out extrovert. I like to use the animal kingdom, by the way. So reds to me are lions, yellows to me are monkeys. And the sort of jobs that yellows are attracted to involve people, sales, publishing, media, hairdressers. They love being around people. Their office is normally a mess. They'll say it's organized, but it's normally a mess. And they normally have a giveaway about themselves on their desk, a picture of their children, their partner, maybe their animal. That's a giveaway of a yellow's office. Yeah. Bottom left is green, which Carl Jung labeled as harmonious. These are the dolphins. They love a hug. And the jobs that dolphins are attracted to are things like customer service, admin, support, HR, PAs, receptionists. That's a very typical green behavior. And when I go into a green's office, what I always see is things like a plant on their desk or a stress ball. That is a typical green giveaway. And finally, top left are blue. And Carl Jung labeled blue as an analyst. These are the elephants. These are the professionals. These are accountants, architects, IT people, technical people, engineers. Often their office is very cold, and I don't mean temperature, just very white walls. No, they haven't decorated at all. Very neat and tidy, very minimalist. A friend of mine's an accountant. His name's Jamie. We call him Jeff. I actually have no idea why. I've known him his whole life. I was in his office about a year and a half ago before COVID. And I said to him, Jeff, you've got 3 children. Why have you got no pictures up? And he said to me, I don't believe in memories. Who the hell says that? He's like an ultra blue. He's like, I don't even like him, but I've known him my whole life. He's one of those mates. You just got to stay in touch just because you've known him since you were kids, right? But he's a bit of a twat, to be quite honest with you. But that's Jeff. So guys, does that all make sense? Or has anyone got any questions on what I've just gone through? So some of you will be like me, a single dominant behavior, which means yellow. What I want you to do, some of you will have 2. What I'd like you to do for a moment is just write down what order you put yourself in as I went through those. What appeals to you in terms of, for me, I would say yellow, red, green, and blue. That's my order. I'm interested to know what yours is in terms of preferences. When I describe the 4, what appealed to you most? So just do that order. I'm really curious. And put in the chat box, guys, what you were. Just put by letter. So I would put Y, R, G, B. Red, yellow, green, blue. Yeah.
Can I just ask, what was the red one again? Did you say, sorry?
In terms of what the description of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Carl Jung labeled them as fire. That was the characteristic. In terms of they're the lions, so the jobs they're attracted to are very senior positions normally, because they like to lead, they like to dominate. And description of reds, they're very direct. They're very straight to the point. And we're going to do an exercise on this to go in detail about, so you all know what you're looking at. But what I want to do, just as you're putting in the chat box, I just wanted to give you guys a real idea. I want you to name a famous person, dead or alive, that you think would fit in these behaviors. So who can think of a famous red person, dead or alive, that we would all know? Some sort of celebrity, could be business person, celebrity. Who comes to mind when you think of a red person? Go on, Scott.
Alan Sugar.
Definitely. That's literally words. I had Lord Sugar on my tip of my tongue. So I totally agree with that. Who else would you say?
Joe Francis. No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would say Joe Francis is a yellow behavior is what stood out for me, Joe. Any other famous?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I've gone for.
Any other famous reds you can think of, guys? I reckon I think a lot of the people on Dragon's Den are red. Peter Jones is a definite red. Duncan Bannatyne was an absolute red. I would say Branson, but actually he's not. I know quite a few people know him, and actually he's not at all. He's quite childlike. He's the sort of person that will jump in a swimming pool in his clothes to entertain. You know, you would think of him as a red, but apparently he's not, actually. What about yellows? Who can think of yellow people? I would say Michael McIntyre is a yellow behavior. Who's the Alan, the very camp comedian? Alan
Carr.
He's a definite yellow. That's a real yellow behavior. Anyone else think of a yellow type behavior? A celebrity, dead or alive, famous?
Well, just any comedians, really.
Yeah, well, no, you say that.
A lot of them want to be centre of stage.
You say that. Who's the one who's definitely not yellow? Very dry sense of humour. I can't remember the guy's name. Not Peter Kay, obviously.
It's Jack, isn't it? Jack.
Yes, he's definitely not a yellow.
Oh, what's his name? Jack.
I know. No,
Jack D.
Jack D.
Jack D. Yeah.
He's not a yellow at all. So I wouldn't say all are. What about greens, guys? I would say Holly Willoughby is a green behaviour. Green behaviours, they drink chamomile tea. That's a typical green drink, I would say. Red would be like a double espresso. Yellow's probably like me, a hazelnut latte. Green would definitely be a chamomile tea type drinker. Anyone think of a green behaviour? The lady out of Weakest Link, by the way, she's Anne, whatever her name is, she's a red behaviour.
What about that Greta Thunberg or whatever her name is?
I don't know her. You thinking her for green?
Yeah, the one who's trying to save the planet.
Oh, okay, yeah, she probably is actually very green. I'm interested in. Let's see. Joe's got yellow, red. Joe, you're exactly like me in terms of. So was Ryan. Tom was blue first. Interesting. Blue, yellow, red, green. Lawrence, yellow, green, red, blue. Scott, yellow, green, red. Interesting. Tom, you were the same, but no, you weren't. Yellow, red, blue, green. And I think the point I'm making, guys, is we all have a slightly different lens. We all see the world slightly differently. Okay. Really interesting point that. What about blue? I would say Bill Gates is definitely a blue. James Dyson is definitely a blue behavior. The late Steve Jobs, I would have put as a blue behavior. Any others? But Bill Gates is a really good example of a blue behavior, right?
Elon Musk.
Yes, Elon Musk would definitely be a blue. Very intelligent, can be seen as quite quirky, quite, what's the word? Eccentric, you know? So this is what I want to do now. I now want to split you up in your dominant behavior. If you've got more than one, then you're going to stay put for a moment. But I'm going to now split you into rooms. And this is what I'd like you to do when you're in. So if you're red, guys, you're going to go in the red room. If you're yellow, yellow room, etc., etc. But this is what I want to do when you go into your breakout room. So make a note of this, boys and girls. Just make a note of this. I want you in your room when you're split up with whoever you're with, and you might be on your own, it's unlikely, but you might. I want you to write down 3 lists. List number 1 is 6 characteristics of your behavior. Let me give you an example of a characteristic of all 4 behaviors so you know what I mean. A characteristic of a red is they're very direct. Yellow, they love to talk. Greens, they love to support and help others. Blues crave detail. They love facts and figures. So I want you to come up as a group. So guys, what you're going to do when you go into your breakout room, I want you to choose, nominate or volunteer a team leader. The team leader's job, all of you take notes, but the team leader's job is to share those notes with the rest of us when we come back in the main room on stage. Okay. So first list is 6 characteristics of your behavior. The second list, and I want you to agree as a group, only 6. The second list is 6 things that frustrate your behavior. Not about you, about other people. What gets on your nerves? Only 6, by the way, please. And don't write your partner, but if it is your partner, why? What does he or she do or say that bugs you? Okay. don't know about you, but when my wife breathes, that tends to piss me right off. So 6 things that really, if she was on this call, she'd fucking kill me for that. So thank God she isn't. So 6 things that really bug you, right? And finally, and most importantly, number 3, most importantly, I want you to write down and discuss 6 ways to sell to your behavior. How do we sell to you? Another way to look at this, in NLP, they call this a reframe, to look at it differently. So if you look at a picture and you put a totally different frame on it, the picture appears different. So another way to look at this, if you've ever met a good salesperson, I want to know what they look like from your lens. What does that good salesperson from your perspective look like? How do they act, talk, dress? What do they look like? I'll give you 2 examples of what I look for. So I'm a bit of an orange babe. I'm yellow red. 2 things I look for if you're going to sell to me. 1, you got to make me laugh. 2, you've got to be attractive. If you're ugly, stay indoors, in my opinion. It's a little bit harsh, but that's just the way it is. So I want you as a group to come up with 6 ways. Yeah. So I'm going to open up the rooms, guys. Any questions before I open up the rooms?
No, mate.
Good. So 4 rooms are open, guys. I want you now to join your room based on what you are, red, yellow, green, blue, and you're going to have 15 minutes, maybe, 15 minutes to 20 minutes, maximum 20. I reckon you can be done in 15 to discuss and come up with this. And I'm going to join the groups. I'm going to jump around from each group. If you don't know how to join the room, tell me. That will give me an indication of your behavior, but I will join it for you. And if you're more than one color, let me know. And I'm going to question you to put you into a dominant room. So if anyone's not sure, Ryan's done
I've got 2.
Have you, Holly? So I reckon you've definitely got green in you, haven't you?
No, actually, I've got red and yellow.
Really? Okay. So I'm going to ask you a few questions. Holly, are you competitive?
It depends what in.
Okay. Are you impatient?
Yeah.
Are you stubborn, as in my way or the highway?
Can be at times.
Do indecisive people piss you off?
No, because I'm indecisive.
So I'm going to put you more yellow then, Holly. I would say you're...
Sorry.
How do I join the room?
So, who wants to join blue? Tom Bailey, you're in blue, yeah? So, yeah, show him how to do it. That's definitely yellow in you, Scott. So, Holly, do you know how to do it, Holly, if you join the yellow group?
What? We're all in yellow.
Is everyone in yellow? That's hilarious. They can't. No, they can't be. Tom Bailey was blue.
I got 2 as well.
Have you? So let me. What were you, Felicia?
I got red and yellow as well.
Red and yellow. So let me ask you same questions. Are you very competitive?
Yeah, but not. I don't know. I would say a little bit, but not majorly.
Are you quite driven? Are you quite hardworking and driven?
Yeah.
Are you decisive? No. I would say you're more yellow then than red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would join the yellow group, which looks like most are actually. Scott, are you yellow?
Yeah, man.
I'll do it for you, Felicia.
Okay.
So most are in there, and then I'm going to go to the... Is anyone in green? No one's in green. Interesting, and no reds. Tom, you are the lone Smurf, my friend. Unmute for me.
I am, yes.
Mate, really
I'm just here talking to myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting. Everyone is yellow, apart from you, which is really interesting. So is that what you expected?
Yeah, but it's close. To be fair, it's very, very close. So yeah, it's between blue and yellow.
So I'll do this with you to begin with, and then I'll join the yellows. Describe to me, how would you describe yourself in terms of characteristics? And I want you to take the notes, Tom.
Okay, so not doing the lists at the moment, just or is that's your first list, is it?
This is list one.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
List one, yeah, perfect. And so analytical, I think. Yeah. Very detailed, meticulous.
Definitely.
Very thorough.
Yeah. And I would say slow to jump in.
Yep, 100%. I think probably qualitative, if that makes sense, in terms of kind of like looking at detail.
Yeah.
Maybe analysing things. I suppose that's kind of analytical, isn't it, in that same sense?
But would you agree with my one of don't jump in quick? You're not impulsive.
Yeah, definitely. If there's something to look at, like an issue or something, I would rather take my time and get to grips with it and then come back to it, kind of thing, rather than let's go in with guns blazing.
Are you like that when you purchase, that you're slow to commit to things? You take your time, you do some research.
Yeah.
Interesting. And I'm the exact opposite. I'm so impulsive.
Yeah.
I'm so impulsive, but I am a bit fickle. I can change my mind quite quickly.
Yeah, to be fair, sometimes I can be. It depends. Like, I think it depends on what you're buying or who you're with. Like, if I'm with my wife, for example, she'd be like, "Oh, let's get that," even though it's like an expensive thing to buy, and I'll be like, "Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look around. Let's think about it." I always have a rule that if I want to buy something over like £100, I'll not buy it straight away. I'll wait 48 hours.
Really?
And then if I still want to buy it, then I'll buy it. Yeah. But then when I'm with her, that probably just goes out the window, to be honest. So
that's hilarious. But the fact you've made that rule for yourself is a very blue trait. Clearly you like a process, a system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you a fan of spreadsheets?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
got them for everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a couple of things that frustrate you, would you say?
Things that frustrate me, probably, well, I guess it would just be when people kind of like drop everything to purchase something, or maybe to kind of like make a decision, which, I mean, not always, obviously, sometimes that you need that and things move very quickly, but I guess, people that sort of wear their heart on the sleeve when actually you want to slow them down a little bit and sort of like talk to them about it.
Good. So too emotional people that probably, would you agree, people that are a bit over familiar with you?
Yeah, to some degree. Yeah. And none of these things are black and white, obviously, but yeah, in some senses. Yeah.
Awesome. Tom, I'm going to leave you for a bit to continue, and then I'll come back and join you, matey. But I'm just going to see how they get on.
I think if someone's too direct.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like, if someone's just straight to the point, direct kind of thing.
I just want to make sure you guys aren't talking about the football.
Yeah. Too direct, maybe.
Yeah, too direct.
Guys, I just want to make sure you're not talking about the football, because I thought that's where the yellows would be drifting to.
Oh, sorry, there's too many of us.
Who's team leader?
Joe.
Joe, what have we got so far of characteristics? Unmute.
We've got confident, outgoing, enthusiastic, entertaining, friendly, and being an oversharer or quite open.
Yeah, very good. I'm going to add a couple, if I may, as a fellow yellow. Do you agree we got quite a short attention span? We switch off quite quick. Is that fair? And I also think with yellows, and this is really important for you guys to get this right, we're very impulsive. We jump in very quick, but we can be a bit fickle and change our minds. Would you guys agree with that?
I definitely do that.
And that's, by the way, that's the exact opposite to a blue behavior. So Tom is the opposite of that. Tom just said to me, which made me laugh, he sets a rule up. If it's over £100, he takes 48 hours to think about it. And the fact that he sets that as a rule is a real blue trait. Yeah. What have we got for frustrations, guys? Joe, what did you get?
We've got not listening.
Go on, Holly, you do it.
Rude. It's just because Joe's kicked out.
Fine.
But we've got not listening, rudeness, and somebody being too direct.
Very good. Very good. And I think people who are very closed and like one-word answers, that really bugs me.
Blunt.
Blunt. Yeah, really blunt. And I feel someone who shows no interest in us bothers me. So if I go on holiday and I come back looking all tanned and I go, I've just come back from Italy, and they go, oh, okay. I'm like, what do you mean, okay? Why don't you want to know about my holiday? It pisses me right off. Do you know what I mean? I sit them down and say, you're going to sit down and listen to my bloody holiday.
Because you want to tell them how good the holiday was and all that.
I want to talk to them about it. They don't care. And that kills me.
Yeah.
What else, guys?
I actually do that I was going to say, I do that all the time with my wife.
Yeah.
If she doesn't ask me how my day's gone, I'm like, you're not going to ask.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why don't you care about my day? Mate, I have the same problem, Ryan. Same issue, pal. So think about others, guys. Tell me, Lawrence, what else frustrates you as a yellow?
I think not letting me able to speak in a conversation.
Yeah. So someone who just loves the sound of their own voice. Yeah.
Yeah, basically my other half.
Yeah, because look, yellows love to talk, right? Therefore, let them. Okay. Any others, guys, you can think of? Abby, what do you reckon? What else annoys you?
How many? I don't know.
I've got one just for me personally.
Yeah, please. As long as you don't
It's
say
when,
Abby.
say, like a customer calls in. It's like, so when a customer calls up and then it goes back to being not interested, but they're literally wanting quick answers and I feel like I'm being rushed to talk them through a deal or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just like kind of, that does annoy me, like saying, why would you call me? And then want to get off the phone straight away. So that really does, grind my teeth sometimes.
Don't give us time. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then people who ghost us, that really bugs me. Like, why can't you just be honest and tell me how it is?
Yeah, literally.
That bugs me as a yellow. So how do we sell to you guys? What would you say? Felicia, let's come to you first. How do we sell to you?
So to me personally?
Yeah, because you're a yellow. If I'm trying to sell to you, what do you look for in a good salesperson?
Just from like previous meetings, I like it when people kind of talk, when you're having a good conversation, it's flowing, maybe like common interests. If you talk about something and they're like, oh yeah, and you kind of get in a good conversation.
So what I took from that, Felicia, is someone who tries to build rapport, look for some common ground and have a good flowing conversation.
Yeah.
Excellent. Ryan, what would you say?
So I wrote a few down. Basically, it was let us talk. That was one of them. Let us talk about what we kind of want. Let us kind of talk about ourselves a little bit, and also sound interested in what we want, and also sound excited.
Yeah, passion. I like passion and enthusiasm where it's genuine. Scott, what would you say to sell to you? What things do you look for?
I think a variety of things, really. I think different things. And I suppose the way that I can explain this is, I suppose, how you sold this to me with what we're doing.
Yeah.
You did something very unique, which was I think you did a mystery call into the business. So you did your homework of the business, and it sort of took me by surprise when I listened to that call, because you did your sort of the homework, and that's what sort of won it for me, because it was more, you understood what we wanted, and it just felt that you knew what we wanted rather than you didn't.
That's
I
a really good point.
I don't know how you can sort of articulate that into.
So I would articulate that by saying almost going out your way, going above and beyond, doing more than the norm. And I think as yellows, we do seem to really appreciate that people really try, maybe, you know, stand out, and go above and beyond, go that extra mile.
It's very similar to some interviewing at the moment, and it's very similar to that, because when people are coming to a job interview, they're trying to sell themselves. And one of the biggest questions I ask is, do you know much about Silverstone?
Yes.
And if they turn around and said, well, not really. Have you been on the website? Well, no, I haven't. Well, I'm sorry, but it's not going to happen.
Correct. It's so funny. Karen Brady, you know, the lady, The Apprentice, I saw her speak once at a conference, and she said her first question in every interview to anyone is, tell me something about my business that I don't know.
Yeah, that's great.
And that is a bloody tough question, right? But you, Scott, I'm the same as you. When I recruit salespeople, I expect them not only to have done their homework, but to do a mystery call to test the salespeople, to say, I did a call because I want to know how your salespeople sounded, and that would impress me. So I'm looking to be impressed. If I'm going to, you know, and the same if someone's going to sell to me, what do they do to grab? So I'm at the moment about to potentially buy a technology platform for my university. And I've been really impressed so far, because not only have they done their research, they're developing one of my modules in their technology platform to show me how much better it could be. That's really impressed me. And this is going to be probably an £80,000 purchase. And that's really impressed me that they've done that. Do you know what I mean? I'm like you, Scott. They've gone out their way. Anything else, Joe? Anything you look for if someone's going to sell to you that's not been shared? Unmute, Joe.
I think it's covered them basically. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
So they've got to be likable to you, a good rapport, build common ground, go the extra mile. Remember the little things. So guys, I'm just going to quickly check in on Tom, see how he's doing, and then I'm going to bring us back to the main room. Very funny that all of you are yellow except Tom. Quite interesting that. I'll be honest with you, it's the first I've seen this. Often there's quite a mix. I mean, look, you're not the biggest team, but even with 7 or 8 people, there's normally not a perfect mix, as in 2 reds, 2 yellows, but there is normally a blend. Quite interesting. So Scott, that's something to think about in terms of recruitment. You've recruited a yellow. You're like the Simpsons. Right, which is quite interesting.
We've got Homer over there.
I didn't want to say. So let me just check in with Tom, guys, and then we'll get back in the room. And then Joe, you're gonna who was yellow again? I think it was it Joe? Were you yellow? Or the team leader rather.
Joe.
So Joe, you'll share with us findings, and I'll do green and blue for the group. See you in a very short while. Tom, are you all done?
Hello, yeah, sorry, yeah, I am.
You're all done. All right, mate, let's get you back in all to the main room. So guys, we're just all going to get back in the main room, and I'm going to start this off by talking about red behaviors. So I want you all to take notes, because all of you were yellow. Obviously, Tom was the lone Smurf in the room. So I'll do red for the group. Then Joe, you share yellows for us, and I'll do green for the group. And then Tom will finish by sharing his findings, observations for a blue. This is so important, guys. I really want you to listen to this, because the whole purpose of this exercise is I want you to be able to spot what you're dealing with. The better you understand the behavior, the easier it is for them to buy from you, right? So it's really key you get this. So let me share reds, guys. Take notes as I do.
There we go.
Okay. Characteristics of a red behavior. They're very direct. They're extremely competitive. They're very impatient. They can be quite stubborn, their way or the highway. They're extremely confident, bordering on arrogant. They can tend to love themselves. They are extremely decisive, and they don't go back on it because they feel that's failure in their eyes. They're very—
Did you say decisive or indecisive? Sorry.
No, decisive. DE. Definitely. They're very—
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, sorry.
And they like facts and figures. They like facts and figures. They don't want waffle. So what frustrates a red, guys? Waffle. They hate waffle. They hate someone who doesn't get to the point, where you use 20 words and you can use 2. Someone who's—
the other 2 at the start, Tony, just because I missed them.
Say again, Tom. Tom,
sorry,
say
what
again.
were the first 2 ones that you said about red behaviour? I started from impatient.
They're very direct. They're very driven.
Oh, right, that was the one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
It's okay. So what frustrates them? They are people who don't get to the point, people who don't use too many words, people that lack knowledge. Really bugs them. If you can't answer their questions, that will really frustrate them. People who are a bit wishy-washy, indecisive people, kills them. People, they call them victims, people that blame everyone else apart from themselves, that don't take accountability, bugs them. Indecisive people really, really bothers them. Also, people that are not very driven, like drifters, bugs them. And red say to me, thick people really annoy them. It's a bit harsh, but that's what they say. People are a bit slow because they just lose patience. How do you sell to a red? Talk results. That's what reds need. Get to the point quick. Get in, get out. So be concise. Know your detail. Only give it if they ask, but know it. Have answers to their questions. Be extremely confident, but don't be arrogant, but be confident in your approach. But the biggest thing, we're ready to get to the point. Dress to impress. They appreciate someone who takes pride in their appearance. I remember I had a red client, Justin, and I used to go to his office in suit and shirt, look really smart. And then one day I chose to wear a tie because my kids bought me this lovely tie for Father's Day. And when I wore it, he went, "Oh, today you look like a professional." And I remember thinking, clearly I didn't before that, just because I wasn't wearing a tie. In his eyes, that was clearly important. He was a bit of a knob, to be quite honest with you, but that's irrelevant, right? It was important to him. How else do you sell a red? Talk results. I think I said that. Get to really know results. You know, if there's a deal, talk about that deal, but get to the point, know your facts and figures in great detail. Okay, Joe, yellows, share, my friend.
So we've got 6 characteristics. We've got confidence, outgoing, enthusiastic, entertaining, friendly, a bit of an oversharer. And then we've got a couple more. So we've got short attention span and then impulsive.
Yeah. And with impulsive, and guys, this is so important for you to get this, right? Because you're going to have yellow behavior customers. They are impulsive, but they change their minds. So if you ever get it where, you know, have you heard buyer's remorse, where the following day they go, actually, we've decided not to go for it. And you're obviously so frustrated by that because, you know, it's a deal. Yellows can tend to do that. the way they are. It's a real yellow trait, unfortunately. What frustrates yellows, Joe?
We've got not listening, just being rude, too direct, a bit blunt, showing no interest, and not being able to sort of speak to them.
See, that's really interesting. What you described there is quite red characteristics and a bit of blue. So I'm going to add a couple. If people want too much detail, it gets on my nerves. Like they want the ins and outs, and nothing you give them's enough. They just keep coming back. They want more and more and more detail. That really bugs me. And yeah, people that I just find are so private and closed, really, I struggle with. How do we sell to the yellows, Joe?
By keeping a flowing conversation,
good,
being passionate and having enthusiasm.
Excellent.
We've understood their wants and needs, going above and beyond, remembering the little things and being likable.
Yeah, amazing. Honestly, spot on. And I'm going to add a couple. Be passionate, be enthusiastic, really take passion for what you do. Yellows like that. They enjoy that. And be real, be genuine. Yet another thing that frustrates yellows, I would say, is fake, insincere. Really bugs a yellow. So let me share green and then we'll come to Tom to share blue. Green behaviors, how do you spot them? They're very nice. They're extremely polite. They're often apologetic. I hear a lot of green say, I'm really sorry to bother you. They're very, they can seem quite nervous. They're very unsure. They are very indecisive. I swear to you, I did this yesterday and I said to this lady, Heather, I said, would you say you're indecisive? She went, and I swear to you, I was like, I'm going to put that as a yes, Heather. She's like, all right, if you want to, but I'm really not sure. Bless her. Yellow, they always put others first. They're people pleasers. They don't like to say no to people. And they're normally their tone of voice is very softly. As I said, they're very lovely. What frustrates them? Pressure. They despise any form of pressure. Confrontation is the worst thing for them. They don't like targets. They don't like people who are too confident. So interestingly, green people will view red as arrogant. Yellow view red as confident. So the point I'm making is we are seen differently through someone else's lens. Really important for you to get that. What else would annoy a green? Yes, someone who seems a bit pushy. And you might not be pushy. You might just be following up like a professional, but a green might see it as pushy behavior. You've got to be aware of that. So how do you sell to a green? I would actually use the word, you don't sell, you facilitate the sale. Hold their hand. Greens need reassurance. Greens love a case study. They love examples of how you've helped someone like them. You must be very, very softly with a green. Slow it down. Be very kind, polite, and courteous, which I'm sure you will anyway, but with a green in particular, that's very important. And transparency. If they ever see something they think was like hidden, you'd lose them. And I would say the biggest thing for a green is integrity. They have to trust you implicitly. So here's a lovely technique for a green. They call this the takeaway. So you might say to a green, I've got two options for you. Option A is 298 a month. Option B is 248. I think you should go for option B based on what you've told me. And that might have been the one you were always going to recommend anyway. But by doing that, greens will love it. They'll think, oh, he's only in it. He wants to genuinely help me rather than get the highest price. So often if I've got a green, I would recommend the more cost-effective option, which I was always going to recommend anyway, but I do it on purpose with a green. They really like that approach. Does that make sense? Okay, Tom, blues, share with us what it's like to be a Papa Smurf.
To be a Smurf, yeah. So they're very analytical, very detailed.
Yeah.
Very thorough.
Yeah.
Meticulous, definitely very meticulous. I put quantitative. I think that's. I'm not sure about that one, but I'm pretty sure it's kind of there or thereabouts.
What do you mean? What does that mean, Tom? What does that mean to you when you put quantitative? What does that actually mean to you?
They like numbers and figures and
Excellent.
kind of analysing things from a statistical point of view.
Excellent.
Rather than describing things.
Excellent. What would you say? And okay. I'm gonna add a couple, Tom. Blues are very slow to commit. It's very rare a blue would decide then and there. Whereas as a yellow, if you've got the right deal, you could probably close them on one phone call. With a blue, I would say 99% of them will not ever, even if the deal's perfect, because they just want to sleep on it. Is that fair, Tom?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What frustrates you?
People who are very highly emotional, a bit over familiar.
Yeah.
Maybe exactly what you just talked about, quick to jump to conclusions, jump to decisions, they kind of make assumptions maybe as well.
Yes.
And I've got here, I think this is probably something that frustrates everyone, but just talks a bit of bullshit and makes things up and glosses over details.
Yeah, so like
it probably applies to all categories, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, blaggers, but sometimes a yellow, won't spot a blagger, and they've got this charm about them, so they can, get over it. But a blue will spot it, probably spot it a mile off.
Perfect. Yeah, and someone who doesn't listen.
Excellent. And I'm going to add one more. So I would definitely say not knowing your numbers will really bug a blue. Not knowing the detail and not having it punchy will really bug a blue. How do we sell to you then, Tom?
Being very thorough, being very assiduous, and interested.
Great word.
Thank you. Being pretty well.
I lost you there. You said pretty well, and then you cut, Tom. I think Tom's frozen. Look, he's turned to ice. Say yellows, I try and make a joke non-stop. What an idiot, right? What an absolute moron. Tom, you're back now, Tom.
I'm back now. I just heard the words absolute moron.
That was about me. Just so you know, I said you turned to ice. Okay. I said you turned to ice. It was a shit yellow joke. Continue, mate.
Got yeah, brilliant. I'm not sure how much you got at that last point. I said just well buttoned up, does their homework and shows up like a presence every single day.
Absolutely, and definitely does their homework, does research. They know their numbers, they know the facts, figures, and that's vital to them. Brilliant, Tom. That was really accurate.
So, I've just got one more. It takes accountability as well.
Yeah, very good. It takes accountability. Really, really accurate. So I've got a question. Ryan, I've got a question for you, please. Just unmute Ryan for a sec.
Yep.
In your opinion, what is the best behavior? We just spoke about 4. What's the best behavior to be in sales?
Well, it depends on who you're speaking to, I'd say.
Go on, what do you mean?
So if you're a blue and you could potentially be selling to a blue, obviously, well, that's going to be the greatest category to be in. But then if you're a yellow and you're speaking to a yellow,
spot on, Ryan.
Yeah, so it depends on who you're selling to.
So this is so important, and well done, by the way. Most people don't get that. Most people go, "Oh, I'm a yellow, so it's definitely yellow." It isn't. the best salespeople in the world are chameleons. They are exceptional at adapting to the environment they're in. And what I want you guys to get, if you look at your diagram, all of you for a moment, all of you have got a bit of each behavior within you, right? If you look at your diagram, all of you, but your dominant was your yellow. Oh, so, sorry, for me, it was yellow. For you, most of you, it was yellow, except Tom. The point is your job is to adapt to the behavior in front of, because a blue, the way you sell to a blue has to be different sell to a yellow, and exactly the same for red and green. So what I want you to start thinking about, boys and girls, is when you're qualifying someone from an inquiry, I want you to try and understand and decipher what color they are. Don't say to them on the phone, what color are you? Because that would seem racist. Okay. But try and identify what behavior they are. And actually, there's 2 big giveaways over the phone. Abby, any idea one giveaway over the phone, what they are? Just unmute for me, Abby. What do you reckon?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Cool. Is it how they start the conversation? Obviously, like, oh, awesome. Yeah. Is it how they start the conversation?
It is.
Obviously, if they start and say, right, this is what I'm looking for, this.
Yeah.
Or if they start like, hi, how are you? All nicey.
Correct, Abby, correct. So one thing I always suggest on a call, right, new inquiry would be, how's your morning going? Or how's your day going? I do it on purpose, right? Because it gets them to talk. And by the way they respond tells you a lot. If they go, yeah, it's fine, you know they're not a yellow and green, because yellow and green would never be that rude. I now know they're a blue or a red. If they go, yeah, it's fine. So Holly, now I know just on response to a question, what they might be 2 behaviors. What indication will I need to see, are they more red or they are more blue?
If they're straight to the point, obviously you're going to know that they're red. So when they say, yeah, I'm fine, and they don't ask about you, they want to go straight into the conversation, you're going to know that they're red.
Well, they could be blue, Holly. They could be blue.
Yeah, they could be.
How do I know if they're more red or more blue? And it's important for us to know. Any ideas?
Well, blue more like, as Tom was saying, more like the facts and the figures and stuff like that. Whereas red, they want to talk more about themselves.
Well done, Holly. So a blue will ask more detail orientated questions. So the 2 biggest giveaways, boys and girls, is how they respond to your questions is one, and the questions they ask is another. And I want to end on this.
Tony.
This is, Lawrence, go for it.
So the one thing I use quite a lot when I was at my previous job with Mini is when customers come in, one question that gets to know which color they are is, what are you looking to achieve today?
That's a great question. Yeah, really good.
With that response, you'll know if they want figures, they want test drive, they want to touch it, they just want facts. And straight away, you put them into that category, and then you adapt and you be a chameleon to them and get the sale.
Lawrence, I love that. So I think we can apply that to your job now of, what are you looking to get from this call? Because if they said, okay, here's a good example, Lawrence, thank you for that. That's brilliant. So if they go, I just want to know some details. Actually, I just want to get an idea of some figures and some details. Joe, what behavior do you think that would be if we go, what are you hoping to achieve from this call?
That was me, right? You asked me.
Yeah.
Sorry, you keep
you, Joe. Yeah. What would you say?
What was the question? Sorry, what are you looking to achieve?
If you go, so Joe, if you say to me, what are you looking to achieve from this call? And I say, just looking for some details, I want to get an idea of some figures. What behavior? Blue. Good. Tom G. If I go, same question, I go, well, to be honest, I've been looking around for a while. I've test drove a couple of cars. I just want to get an idea of the sort of deals you guys have got. I want to just try and understand about timeframes, really, because I think I'm going to buy, but I might also lease. So that's really the purpose of the call. What behavior, Tom G, am I?
Definitely agreeing.
Definitely agreeing. Good.
Because the support aspect, holding their hand, I suppose, and
they're umming and
guiding them
ahhing,
through
right?
it.
And they're umming and ahhing. They're not
Yeah,
sure. Felicia, what if I do this?
100%.
Unmute for me. You asked me that question, Felicia, and I say, well, I just want to see what sort of deals you guys have got, really. I've been on your website, and there was a lovely deal on the Mini Cooper, which I love, and I used to have one of those, but I just want to see what other sort of deals you've got, really. What am I, Felicia?
Would it be yellow? Because they're a bit more to the point, but there's.
But also, not just that, what else did I do to show I'm a bit more yellow?
So you sound more, I don't know, is the way you were speaking.
A little bit. I did something else. Lawrence, what else did I do to give away? Abby, go on, you've got it.
Is it about what colour you said you had before?
Correct. I didn't need to share it, right? So yellows tend to share more than they need to. One of you said that earlier. They start telling you their life story. Oh, but I got 2 dogs and I'm not sure they'll fit in the back. You don't need to tell me that crap, but yellows feel they do, right? So then you start. So what I want to encourage you, boys and girls, is start to color code your leads. When you get an inquiry, start to think what color and put them on your CRM system. I do it. I use HubSpot and I literally put definite blue customer. So then I know probably the right trainer for them. And I'm now starting to choose the right salesperson for them. So I've got a guy called Ejaz who's off the scale blue. He used to be an accountant, but he's now working with me. He's perfect for any blue inquiries. I've got Youssef. He's hysterical, total yellow. So if I get a yellow appointment, we set Youssef on it. So I'm starting to allocate now, because the truth is, if you don't have the resource available, you've got to be an amazing chameleon. Well, not amazing, you've got to be a chameleon. If you struggle with that, then try and choose people in your team that might be better suited. Does that make sense to you all? Yeah? Start to color code. Any questions on it at all? So when I spoke about this to another client, they made a really good point. So when I said, act like them, they said, isn't that being fake? And I said, it's not. It's playing to a preference. So when I'm dealing with an ultra blue, I struggle. I really struggle because it's out my comfort zone and I'm not very good at detail. And I always try and make people laugh. Blues don't want that really. So therefore I struggle, but I try the best I can. And I only show them the blue part of me. And there is a bit of blue in me, but very little. That's what shows up to the phone call or the meeting. With a red, I'm pretty good with reds now because most of my clients are reds. I'm very direct, to the point. I talk results and I win them over. Yellows, I'm in my comfort zone. We have a great laugh. It's brilliant, blah, blah, blah. It's where I'm most comfortable because I'm yellow. Does that make sense to everyone? Yeah? Good. Any questions at all, guys, on that?
I've got a quick question.
Go for it.
So from like all these studies that you've been doing on percentage, we'd say is the highest
Ryan,
out of each category.
Ryan, start again. You went a bit robotic.
No problem.
That's better.
So I know that you've done this with a lot of people.
Yeah.
What would you say is the highest percentage, even for like, so would it be blue, red, yellow, or green?
It's such a great question. Ryan, I would have assumed it was yellow, but I was wrong. If I look at, say, Select Car Leasing, they had 2 of their top salespeople when they had 60 on the floor. One who's now a director called Sam, he's very blue. And another guy, I can't remember the chap's name, he was the most red I've ever seen. So much so, he was a bit like the guy in Pursuit of Happiness, Chris Gardner. He wouldn't drink water because he didn't want to go on wee breaks so he could do more calls. He'd get in at 7 a.m. and leave at 7 p.m. every day. He would write the most business. People thought he was a robot. I've never seen anything like it, but he was so driven to earn as much money as possible. So the truth is, Ryan, the best salespeople isn't a specific behavior. They're the best at adapting. That's what I've learned. From all my studies, they have this wonderful ability to adapt. And I think if you can do that and be more agile, that's what success is about. Not being a red or a yellow or a green or a blue. That actually isn't relevant. It's about, can you turn it on when needed? Does that make sense? And all the interviews I've done on my podcast, the best salespeople in the world, they're phenomenal at that. They really are. Yeah. Great question, Ryan. Any other questions, boys and girls? Abby, go for it.
What do you do if you're speaking to someone and they're like a mix of all and you just can't fathom out what they are?
Yeah, that's a really good question, actually. You do get that, right? Where they are a bit of everything. All I would say is keep probing and their dominant behavior will shine. Do you remember I said put in the chat room what appealed to you most? If you did that to that person, they would be able to go blue, yellow, green, red as an example. They would. So you've got to find it. And therefore the only way is check out the language they use in their emails, see what their emails look like. You know, for my emails, I'd put Dear Abby, warmest regards, Tony. A red person will go, Abby, Bob. Yeah, Abby, ... Bob. A blue will look very different, their emails. So in terms of matching, guys, and being a chameleon, I copy the email always. So if someone puts Dear Tony, warmest regards, Julie, kiss, 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 then she's getting kisses, right? But if Bob, one of my clients, goes, he literally sometimes doesn't even put Tony. He can't even be bothered to. He'll go, blah, 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 get it done. He's off the scale red. And I wrote, I'm on it. That's what he likes.
I've seen that a few times when I can hear myself repeating for some reason. I've seen it a few times when people actually put it's KR, kind regards.
Yeah.
And they're not even their name, it's just their initial, like S.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
I know, but it's because normally time pause, straight to the point, don't want any. And I'm aware I can be very red in now, so I have to rein myself in sometimes. And my wife will say to me, genuinely, my wife go, you're acting very red, Tony, and I don't like it because she's a bit green, bless her. She's also a red. She's a scary cow, to the truth be told, but she is very green and she gets very easily upset. And she'd actually say in chat, go, you're acting red now and you're like delegating to me. Please remember I'm your wife, not, you know, not a member of staff. And I have to go, all right, make me a cup of tea though. I don't do that. She'd never make me tea. She hates me. Guys, great to see you all. I'm going to get over an NLP test right now to Ryan. It's overdue. And Scott, I'm going to listen to the call you sent me. Apologies. I literally haven't had a moment, but,
yeah,
but I've scheduled to do that today for you.
Yeah, that's fine.
That and give you some feedback, pal.
Yeah, right. Brilliant.
Guys, great to see you as always. Keep safe, keep well, and I will see you in about a couple of weeks. Have we got dates booked, Scott, for the next?
Cheers, Tony.
I think we have, mate.
I think we have.
I'll just need to double check, but yeah, we definitely have.
Awesome. Cheers, guys. Have a great day.
16th of July.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Thanks, Ryan. Cheers, guys.
We're next for the 16th.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. All the best.
See you later.
Bye, Tony.
Cheers, pal. Bye, Abby.